Hello, Mike Dillard here, and welcome to video number 1 of our Building on a Budget series titled How to Get 45% More Leads Per Day for Free. Let's jump right in and go ahead and get started. What I'm about to show you is the absolute easiest way in the world to generate more leads for free from all of your marketing efforts, both current and future from this point forward. What I'm about to show you is really a simple 10-minute change that we made to our website that allowed us to produce 45% more leads each day for free. And this one little skill, in my personal opinion, is going to be the difference between making a ton of money in 2008 and going out of business for most network marketers. What are we talking about? Split testing, if you haven't figured that out already. And this is essentially a very simple skill that you can go out and it allows you to split test little changes in your websites and in your marketing efforts that can have dramatic differences in your end result. Now, for example, let's say that you have 100 visitors per day come into your website, which produces 10 leads. Now, this essentially means that you're getting what we call a 10% conversion rate. Out of every 100 visitors that you get, you're going to generate 10 leads. Now, if you can increase your conversion rate using split testing, any additional gain that you have beyond those initial 10 leads are basically free from that point forward. So a quick example here would be the difference between increasing your conversion rate from 10% to 30%. That would bring you an additional 20 leads every single day per 100 visitors at no extra cost whatsoever. Obviously, I hope you can see that if you can do this and you can improve your conversion rate, this is extremely important if you're building on a budget, because what we're doing is taking or extracting more performance and more leads and more results out of your existing traffic and your existing marketing efforts at no additional cost. And like I said before, this is the absolute easiest and quickest way to increase the amount of activity and results that are coming from your business building efforts. So let's talk about conducting our first split test real quick. What we want to do is make one very little basic change to your existing capture page. Now, as an example, I've put together a couple of images here from our current magnetic sponsoring system capture pages in our split tests. So what I'm about to show you is a live case study that we've conducted over the last few days. So here's the very first capture page that we have, a screenshot of it, and we're going to call this version A. And what I want you to pay attention to is this yellow submit button right here that says click to access. So we created a second page that's identical to version A except for the submit button, which you can see here in version B. So everything else on the site is exactly the same, but you'll notice here the submit button is different. It looks a little bit different and it says free instant access. So we're going to use a very basic, simple piece of split testing software that will really divide our traffic between two pages equally. We're going to send 50% of our visitors to version A, and we're going to send the other 50% to version B. And what's going to happen, right? One page is going to convert better than the other. We don't know which one it's going to be, but that's the fun in split testing. It's kind of a little bit of an experiment that you can run. And let's go ahead and see what happened. Version B increased our conversion rate by 22%. So if you haven't figured that out yet, it essentially means that just by changing that submit button and the text on it, which probably took 2 minutes to do, we increased the amount of opt-ins that our capture page produced by 22%. That's 22% more leads for free from that one little itty-bitty change. But why stop there, right? If we can see just such a dramatic difference by making one little change to that submit button, what will happen when we test a few more things? So that's what we did. We created version C, and we added this little red arrow and split test that against our winner, which was version B. And you cannot see it in this screenshot, but this red arrow right here is an animated GIF, and it basically just bounces back and forth, and it points at that free instant access button, which we determined from our first test works the best. What was the result in our second split test? Turns out version C produced 23% more leads than version B. That little red arrow increased our conversion rates once again by an additional 23%. That's huge. So after these two little changes that took less than 10 minutes to make, we've increased the number of leads our website produces by a combined 45%. at no cost. We're getting 45% more leads now because we made those two little changes than we were just a couple of days ago, and we didn't spend a dime to see that result. That's not all though. What other benefit can we see from this? Well, let's say that our first page, version A, was producing 20 leads for every $100 spent in advertising, which basically gives us a price of $5 per lead. By increasing our conversion rate by 45%, we're now producing 29 leads for every $100 spent, which means our leads now cost us $3.45 each instead of $5, which is a savings of 31% per lead. So to sum this up, we're now producing 45% more leads per day, and we reduced our cost by 31%, making two little itty-bitty changes to our website that took less than 10 minutes to make. Okay, so hopefully you can see by this one little case study and demonstration that split testing can have dramatic results on your marketing efforts, and this is extremely important if you're building on a budget, right? If you can go out and keep your budget exactly the same, let's say it's $100 per week, and get 45% more results and more leads from your $100 than you're getting today, that would make a fairly significant change in your results in the way that your business is growing. So how can you do this? Well, there are two great resources that you can start using immediately. And the first is Google Optimizer. It's completely free as long as you have an AdWords account set up with Google, which is also free to set up. And you can do that by going to google.com/AdWords. A second resource that I highly recommend is HyperTracker. You can go to hypertracker.com, and this is a fantastic alternative service that's a little bit easier to use, but it costs $19.95 a month. So you can use either one you want. Whatever you enjoy using most and whatever easier for you is simply the one that I would go with. And that's really all there is to it, guys. So you can set up your first split test today using a free software, Google Optimizer, and you can start increasing your conversion rates and basically getting more free leads for your business by tomorrow morning. So I've got a couple additional tips for you that I want to give you. I forgot to put it in the slide presentation, but I'm sure a couple of y'all are at least wondering this, but what should you split test first, right? Well, the most important thing that you can start with is your headline, and you want to leave the font the same, you want to leave the color the same, and the size of the wording the same, but you just want to come up with several different headlines that you can split test against each other, and that's going to bring the most dramatic results throughout your split tests, more so than anything else, is the actual text of your headlines. So start with that, split test between 3 and 10 different headlines, and don't make any other changes to your pages, but don't do all 10 at once, just split test 2 at a time. Keep the winner, split test the winner against a new version, and keep moving forward from that point forward. And when you're pretty happy with the results that you're getting and the improvement in the conversion rates that you've seen, then go ahead and try changing the background color to your page. And this is a little test that we actually ran 2 days ago, but we took that same capture page and we put a different color background behind it, and we tested a light gray versus a light blue, and the results were dramatic. I really thought the light blue was going to win, but it turns out the light gray background won, and it increased our conversion rate an additional 81% just by making the background color gray. It's pretty amazing and a heck of a lot of fun when you see the results start to come in, because it's, like I said, there is no easier, quicker way to increase your entire business and the results that you're getting than to run little tests like this, and it's a heck of a lot of fun to see the results. So that's the first suggestion that I have for you. Start with the headline, then start with the background color, and then you can pick little things like the submit button that you just saw us test there to do as well. And keep in mind that you're going to want to split your traffic between at least 300 visitors at a minimum. So however long that may take you, you may get 300 visitors a day, you may get 300 visitors a week. Just make sure that you run your test through at least 300 visitors. And the more that you run the test through, the more accurate your results are going to get. If you do any less than that, your results are not going to be exactly what they would be over a longer period of time. So it's extremely important that you use that 300 visitors as a benchmark. It's in 150 to version A, 150 to version B. You get your results, and then you basically start over again. If you can do more traffic, if you're getting a lot more than that, maybe 500,000 visitors a day or a week, great. I would go ahead, and we have a rule here at the office that we conduct all of our split tests in lumps of 1,000. So every split test we run goes through 1,000 visitors at a time before we kind of come to a conclusion that yes, we have a winner and let's start a new one. So I hope you enjoyed this little lesson. I know it was short, I know it was quick, but we're going to get into some really cool ways to generate free traffic in the additional lessons that are going to be released over the coming days and weeks. So stay tuned for those. But again, go get started on split testing today, and then jump on magneticsponsoring.com and share your results with the other community members. Post on the forum and let us know what's happening with your split tests, because it's a heck of a lot of fun to talk about and to see, and everybody else in the community would be able to benefit from your tests as well. So thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for lesson number 2 in our Building on a Budget series.